All right, so today I'm gonna do a tutorial on the kettlebell clean, specifically the sport style. There are some differences between that and the hard style. So just so you know, there are differences. Now, let's do a couple. Okay, so the breathing. For sport style, we breathe out on that backswing, we breathe out on the catch in the rack position. This is called the rack position. If you see my position, look at my arm, okay? My arm, wrist, fingers, everything is in of course my fingers are wrapped around the handle, but it's all in a straight line at about a 45-degree angle, okay? What you want to do is, one thing is you grip the corner of the bell. So even if this is a nice bell because it's got these curvatures, but even if it's just a rounded bell, it sits in the pocket. That's what we call this. It sits in the pocket really well, okay? We don't want the wrist bent back, okay? Like grabbed like this. We don't want it out here, not a rack position, up here, all these weird little positions, okay? This is the true rack position for the kettlebell clean. All right, and I can hold it here for a while. I've got my forearm resting on my torso, okay, and it's really well balanced. I can catch my breath here if I need to, okay. All right, so let's look at some components. On the backswing, just like I talked about with the snatch, we can have thumb back, which is what I usually do. We could have it straight across, which sometimes can clip the legs a little bit. Or we can have the thumb forward, which I don't care for, but I've seen world champions do, so it's a very good technique, okay? So we go thumb back, at least that's how I'm doing it. We drive with the hips, okay? As we drive with the hips and come up, you will a lot of times see this foot come up a little bit. It's due to the hip drive. Even sometimes on the backswing, I bring that opposite side foot up. You don't have to do that. Don't focus on those things. Those things should happen naturally. So I backswing, I drive up with force. It puts me a little bit up onto my toe. It's not a calf raise. It's just driving with the hip brings me up on my toe a little bit. And that is the energy, okay, to raise the kettlebell. Now, there is a kind of almost like a scooping of the knees a little bit. It's called a pendulum. That's what we do with sports style. It's different than the hinge style, right, of a hard style clean. I have an old one that I taught a long time ago on YouTube of the hard style. But that being said, we're going to drive with the hips. This is not an arm movement, people, right? Just like a lot of the other stuff I talk about, we're doing all hip drive, right? So even like when we do a kettlebell swing, when we do a snatch, yeah, we have to punch up and catch for a snatch, right, with our timing. Same type of thing here, except we're just catching, okay? Almost like we're blocking a punch there, right, to our rib cage, okay? Doesn't have to be too abrupt. But watch the bell, because one of the most common things is people slam their wrists. This is very, very common when learning the kettlebell clean, and it discourages a lot of people. Now, you could get wrist guards until your technique gets better. I would always recommend that. But that being said, once you have good technique, you should not be banging your wrists. So, watch the bell. Watch. It just rolls around. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of sucking that elbow into my body with timing. Right? It can slam if my timing's off, right? Or if I'm too abrupt, or if I don't, if I come up and I'm just trying to punch through too quick, okay, without the proper timing, then it may swing and slam. But again, we're trying to go slow. I can speed it up. You say, is that slamming? Not really slamming. It's dropping into the pocket quicker, but I've got no bruises from anything hitting, right? Okay, so you see my positioning here. I say do this to check yourself when you're learning, right? Not on every one, but when you're in the rack position, point your fingers. See if that makes a nice straight line, okay? All right, so hip drive. Breathe out on the way back. Breathe. When we catch, we're gonna breathe out again. We're gonna suck the elbow back into our body, right? Keeping this forearm really straight on that approximate 45-degree angle, okay? Another check for yourself is when you're here, am I at the right angle? Well, my thumb should be right where my midline is, okay? Right in the center of my sternum, approximately. That tells me I'm in the right position. Another thing you can do is you can rock the pelvis just a tiny bit forward, slight forward, so that you create this slightly rounded thoracic position to support. Now my elbow is resting a little bit on my hip bone. Now this is good technique that's used often with kettlebell sport. Okay, but if you're just doing longer sets and you want to increase the number, little rest position, take a couple of breaths. Okay, these are good positions. I think that covers what I want to. Oh no, one more thing. How do we get down from here? How do we get down from the rack? Just slightly rotate your palm towards you and let it drop. But we're going to control the drop. It's not boom, right? It's almost like I'm casting it out a little bit. I roll, and then I get a nice arc. I roll. It doesn't have to be a big arc. I'm not coming out here, right? We're not doing that. I'm not throwing it out there. Okay, we're not casting a fishing line. We're just rolling and making sure as I roll the palm towards me, I move the elbow away from the body just a little bit so that I can get that nice smooth arc, and then I come back up, boom. Let me know if you have any questions. Stay strong. I'll see you next time.